Hello, my name is Vince Faney, and as you know, as some of you know, I'm the author of several books. One a fitness book, a couple fitness books, Zen and the Art of Resistance Training, but really today what I'm here to talk about is my motivation for writing a couple books titled Most People Talk Bullshit, One Primate Search for Intelligent Life. This is inspired by I had a therapist which I had to go to deal with my rage and my depression and to keep from going postal during my time of intense disgruntlement. Now that was just basically, I'm going to tell you my immediate goals. I told you that I'm trying to pay off the debt on my houses. I got a couple properties that I am not looking to get any cash flow. I just want to pay off the debt and give them over to a veterans group, at least the one in Medford to a veterans group. The other one I want to give, maybe if not to a veterans group, to Woman's Space or some place that helps women and families suffering from domestic violence, a house for people with safe haven. I also want to give money to I like Food for Lane County, fondness for the homeless. I've been homeless. I know what it's like to go hungry, so those are two important things to me. To long-term care places like Good Samaritan or the Alzheimer's Association. My mother died terribly from Alzheimer's, so I'm very invested in that. And the mission and veterans group, obviously, because I am a former Marine and I've been a homeless vet and suffered from intense knee problems on and on most of my life since the Marines. So I have a lot of things I want to repair, and I have these few assets I have left even after I was forced out of the post office. So I want to turn them over, not interested in cash flow. I told many people many times the reason is I want to get all of you on board. That's my price. Is I just want people to just kind of get involved. Not looking for money, I want people to get involved. That's my price. If I'm willing with my limited assets to do this, I'm just asking other people to simply, still practice their American rights that we still have today and to just simply speak up and to get organized. Now another thing I want to do is I want to change certain laws, the Hatch Act or any of the federal laws that basically make it next to impossible to hold any government official. I don't mean just Congress people. I'm not aiming at the Congress and senators. Actually, they're easier to go after than the other, like supervisors, managers, and administrators that work for agencies like the Post Office and FEMA, any government agency, whether it's state, federal, or city, municipal, county. Those government officials, administrators, supervisors, are harder actually to pursue and punish when they do things wrong, especially even if they do things willfully wrong, than a senator or congressman. Senator and congressman is always out in the light. So they pretty much have to toe the line. You got these people in agencies, the womb of corruption really is at the low and mid-level of management, any government agency. And what happens is when somebody does something wrong, even if it's intentional, unless it's blatantly, violently criminal, they're protected by the Justice Department, either the state Justice Department or level or the federal, if it's like the post office. So we want to change that, especially if you can prove, we want to basically have discourse American citizens to encourage our legislators to amend the laws, change the laws, whatever they have to do to make it to where require the Justice Department under the full light of day where the public's watching them to investigate these supervisors, administrators, whoever that break the law civilly. Okay? Now, obviously, administrators and so forth should be protected to a degree. People make mistakes. Something happens. Somebody in the public gets a little disgruntled, a customer for the Postal Service, and they just want to sue. Obviously, a supervisor should be protected. But in an instant where a supervisor, you can make a case that a supervisor willfully breaks the law. Because anytime anybody makes a mistake, there should be a cease and desist, let's talk about it, get some sort of warning, don't do that again. But if they willfully break a civil law and continue to break it after warning, and they continue to break it, and they continue willfully, they should be held accountable. I don't think there's anybody out there that disagrees with that. So since we most likely don't disagree with that, that should be done. We need to do that. And I talked to Senator Wyden's office, and I talked to Merkley, and I talked to DeFazio, and I talked to him in the past. And he says, for this to happen, you need a whole groundswell, an uprising of people. And I don't mean uprising like violence, but for people to work on the internet and get together and march down to DeFazio's office while you're drinking drinks and having pizza and just chat with them and say, this is what we want. The next thing I want to do, besides giving the houses over and changing this law, is I want an investigation to go into the misdeeds that happened at the Postal Service. And the reason why I want a Senate and Congress investigation, I think, quite frankly, I mean, really, since since the Congress and senators went out of the way to confront McGuire and all these baseball players for taking steroids, please, don't you think that there should be an investigation about the anthrax situation? I mean, a real investigation. Don't you think we should have an investigation where I could demonstrate where there's mail is being delayed purposely, illegally, for some supervisors to make money, and where I could show that actually I almost need an investigation. I told Merkley's office and Wyden's and DeFazio's office that I want to go publicly. I want to get a public forum. I want you guys to help me get a public forum. I want to work for Obama. I am Obama's formerly disgruntled postal worker. Senator McCain had his Joe the plumber. I'm Vince, the formerly disgruntled postal worker. I want to work for Obama. I want to work for you guys. I need to be the liaison between the union and the workers and the government agencies, because you got a disconnect there, and it's causing a lot of waste of money, and it's causing a dangerous scenario. Now, there are things going on in the Postal Service right now with that basically the biohazards, medical biohazards, where the public is at risk of a epidemic, diseases being spread at epidemic level, at the level of a BP disaster. Now, here's the thing. All the things that I'm telling you, there's only 3 or 4 possibilities. So be logical and think of this. Let's look at the 3 or 4 possibilities of what I'm saying to you. I'm lying. That's one possibility. I could be telling a lie, exaggerating. Now, there are stiff penalties for slander and libel. I'm well aware of that. If I'm telling a lie or, slandering, any obfuscation of the truth, I could be held liable and big time, okay? So, some people say, well, maybe you think you're telling the truth. Maybe you're delusional. Well, you know what? If I'm delusional, get somebody to help me take some meds. There's a third scenario. I'm simply telling the truth, 100% of the entire truth. There's a fourth scenario. It could be all the above. A little bit of lies, a little delusional, a little stress, some truth, some exaggeration. It could be the whole gamut. But here's the thing I said to DeFazio's office and to Wyden's office and to Merkley's office to their aides. I said, I warned you of this potential of the biohazards causing epidemic catastrophe on the level of the BP disaster. So you're forewarned. You can't say you weren't told. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this, I didn't tell them to go look and check and ask questions themselves. You know why? Because in the past, when legislators go into the post office, whatever, say, we heard this, plant managers may go, that's not the way it is. He'll lie. Or he may not actually even really know because he's not on the floor. I've been there. I know that. I can verify all this. I want to publicly, like in a reality show, go to the Postal Service, in front of the senators and the Congress people, in front of you, the public, in front of the Justice Department, in front of the Postal Management Union, and show exactly the way they handle it. They're doing better now, but there's still holes in it. And I don't care what they tell you. Don't trust them. And I can tell you why you shouldn't trust them, because of their track record. About the anthrax scare, they told the American Postal Management, the postmaster and his vice presidents, and all 3 presidents of the unions, mail handlers, clerks, carriers. I don't want to call them liars, but my opinion, they weren't entirely forthcoming. Because one time they had senators ask, why weren't you guys prepared for the anthrax? And they said, we never gave it any, we didn't know, we never dreamed this could ever happen.